Hi, we're Team Sisyphus, and I'm Juhili, the producer of our video game project Mobius Clover. Here's our detailed mid-progress report on our product and how it is planned, structured, and currently being executed. What our project aims to accomplish. For our game Mobius Clover, our main goal is to create a fully playable game that fulfills the client's criteria and successfully gets released on Steam. We target potential players to get into our mysterious, suspenseful story of an intern trapped in the spaceship's endless crashing onto the planet. For curious players who always seek adventure, our product delivers sci-fi puzzles and mysteries that consistently test the player to figure out the way to escape this nightmare and to solve puzzles to save lives on this ship. In the playtime of a maximum of 2 hours, players meet an entire narrative arc with delicate graphics from first-person's perspective. As a student team, our personal goal is to expand our respective skill sets and become more accustomed to working in a team environment. We will implement the game industry standard practices into the project's development process, based on agile project management with the use of Jira software and Confluence. 2. Measures of success. Our client's biggest interest is having a viable product that out in the video game market Steam, targeting unspecified individuals to play the product. The team can further collect data to raise the quality even after the initial release. To achieve this main client objective, our client will be providing the basic requirements and requests for in-game features to the team, but will also act as an advisor to give feedback on level design, product pipeline, and quality assurance. Team Sisyphus has a regular client meeting every time before starting a new project sprint to ensure the client's requirements are met and expected results are visible by the end of certain deadlines. As for the measure of success, our goal is to reach a minimum of 100 download metrics on the Steam platform within 6 months from the official first release on the platform. Thus, our final steps to reach the goal would be first, deliver a viable product to Steam open to the public, second, develop post-release updates reflecting user feedback, and report new version releases to the client. Depending on the developer's availability and the metrics on Steam, we are considering releasing a DLC pack or sequel product. 3. How we plan on accomplishing it. To accomplish our goals, we have established a solid pipeline and team disciplines that allow developers to reach maximum productivity and also flexibility on personal scheduling as students. Our discipline follows the common game industry's discipline, which is the first multidisciplinary role. Most game studios consist of teams that come from a variety of specializations that have to work together to create a finished game. Our teams consist of individuals from various disciplines, which I'll be explaining further at the end of this report. In terms of game engines, all games require an engine, whether that be a licensed engine or custom engine. Our team is using Unreal Engine 5.2 to create the game, which is the most experienced engine for our developers and also the most accessible to the team. All game studios use a form of source control to track and manage changes to the project. Git, SourceTree, and Bitbucket will be the common source control products that any game developers have easy access to. Our team is using a GitHub repository to store and manage files and to collaborate. Most importantly, we're using Agile project management to schedule our plans and structure our production communications. Many game studios use Agile project management to develop games with flexibility, to recover from unknown blockers, to have stable and consistent iterations of schedules, and to quickly reflect feedback. Our team is using Jira for various purposes throughout development, including creating a backlog of everything we need to do to finish the game, estimating story points for tasks, setting up and executing sprints, keeping track of team members' progress and blockers. 4. Any unknown. As a student team, the biggest unknown is unstable availability for product development. Agile project management allows us a certain level of recovery from schedule delays or blockers, but not being able to fully commit as a single developer of this project puts us in a lot of unknown scheduling conflicts. Our team hasn't had critical disturbances on schedules yet due to this, but as a producer, this is the biggest component that I'm keeping in mind when preparing for future sprints and managing the overall pace of the project. Cases where we were left with comparatively a lot of incomplete tasks and story points have happened due to academic stress, but we have successfully recovered from the delays in the next sprint. Another unknown variable is the limited resources of the team. Currently, this is a creative project with no external sponsors or financial support, so our team is purely putting in their own time and effort voluntarily to establish a creative, fun game product. This can lead to exhaustion in longer terms and also a certain shortage of usable resources such as software, market assets, and proficient skills needed for better game development. 5. Our production schedule. Using Agile Project Management as a producer, I was able to plan out the project schedules into the following sprints at the start of our very project. Every time each sprint is done, I return to the product backlog to move stories or tasks into the next sprint backlog and assign those stories to developers. This will be the main iteration that happens throughout our development period. A sprint retrospective happens at the end of each sprint to reflect on what went well, helped us move forward, could have been better, and had blocked us in any future blockers. Along with this team's retrospective, I write and distribute individual developers' sprint reports based on their self-retrospective and my notes on developers throughout the sprint to assess their performances and check on any help I can give to assist developers with any hardships. Here's our entire production schedule. The big milestones are aligned as pre-production, production, alpha, beta, and release phases. We have an average of 4 sprints planned for each milestone, except for pre-production, which we only had 4 days of a single sprint. This was possible as we had spent enough time of total 11 days on the project plan and charter before the pre-production, so we only had to implement departmental discussion during pre-production based on the completed plan and vision of the game. Beta also had 3 sprints, which is 1 sprint less than regular, and the release phase has no sprints as it switches from the agile process to the waterfall production method, a more conventional method of clearing out any remaining tasks. All regular sprints are 2 weeks long, except for the Alpha 1 sprint, which we had to extend a week longer than usual due to Thanksgiving break. This change happened at the original end of the sprint, so the schedule is now delayed for a week from the initial planning. We are planning to reach the release date to be between late February and early March, which will be followed by possible updates and fixes depending on the user feedback. To take a more detailed view of each sprint, I will need to explain our core values first. I value team communication more than anything, and especially with a small team with 7 developers wearing multiple hats, knowing what's happening in this project and where the other developers are currently at is very crucial. Getting disconnected and uninterested in others' progress is the fastest way to lose team bonding and communication, so I had to set up following regular communications. We have an online daily scrum every Wednesday and Friday, and an in-person daily scrum every Sunday. Daily Scrum serves as a quick meetup for the team to share individual progresses and blockers one by one, which does not take more than 10 minutes in total. Every Sunday, we hold a weekly in-person meeting that starts with the Daily Scrum, followed by departmental discussions and a sprint retrospective meeting. This weekly is a longer and more conventional meeting than usual that allows longer discussions. Each department needs to discuss certain topics or problems that need everyone's input or feedback. If it's the end of the sprint, developers take turns describing their perspective on the sprint, and based on them, I hold a sprint retrospective meeting the week after, also distributing the individual reports. There are some major events I'm planning in between core phases. After the alpha phase, we're planning on setting up regular meetings with our client, accompanying our department heads to showcase our progress and take any feedback the client gives us. After the beta phase, we're conducting a user acceptance test, or in a more game industry friendly term, a QA test. This is our current QA test plan, but it'll be more specified as our alpha phase is done and we get our QA testers ready for the release phase. 6. Team members' abilities and responsibilities. Team Sisyphus consists of 7 unique developers, with most of us wearing multiple hats. Juhi Lee, producer, 2D 3D artist, and character artist. Nicole Cheney, narrative lead and the head of art division. Guanchin Lee, 3D artist. Ambrose Ringer, head of level design, documentation specialist, gameplay programmer, UI programmer. Andy Sizemore, the level designer, programmer, technical designer. Mark Ngui, lighting artist, programmer. Noah Aguirski, level designer, gameplay programmer, and QA tester. Team Sisyphus' biggest strengths are first, consistency in product discipline, 2, solidity in the production pipeline and agile process, 3, active communication with the client, and 4, stable team communication. These strengths are vital in game development projects as the process is not linear but more circular. There are consistent revisions and updates along the development, which requires rapid response from each division of the team. To make communication efficient and solid, Team Sisyphus utilizes Jira, Confluence, and GitHub to be the primary tools to support our production pipeline. With a casual use of the Discord server as our quick communication tool, our client is also able to reach out to us with an ease. That wraps up our mid-progress report on our game, Mobius Clover. As our team is currently at the start of Alpha 3, We will follow up with another report possibly after beta or release phase. Thanks for watching and keep an eye on our next updates.